In the infinite dark sea of space, beyond the last whisper of sunlight, a lone traveler drifts silently. It's not a spaceship crewed by astronauts, nor a probe with a return ticket. It's Voyager 2, a seasoned but steadfast messenger launched by humanity nearly 5 decades ago. Most people believe that, after crossing the boundary of our solar system, simply became a silent observer, whispering back signals from the edge of the void. But now, something has changed. Voyager 2 has seen something that was never intended to move, something that wasn't meant to be there. For years, its travel through the medium between stars had been uneventful, merely particles, cosmic stillness, and magnetic fields. Until the silence broke. Until a motion deliberate and unmistakable was caught drifting in the darkness, something moving with purpose. When researchers on Earth decoded the strange anomalies, a chilling transmission from Voyager 2, they began to come to their senses. What we deeply feared may actually be true. Voyager 2 had long passed the planets past Neptune, past Pluto, past the heliopause, the unnoticeable point where our sun's influence fades and interstellar space begins. Out there, it was expected to drift quietly, picking up minor fluctuations in space, dust, and solar radiation. But instead, it picked up movement, the kind of movement that doesn't happen by chance. Initially, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory of NASA observed what they perceived to be a blip in the plasma wave data, a spike that lasted only a few seconds. These instruments are incredibly sensitive and usually report on changes in the density of particles or interactions with magnetic fields. But the signal this time carried an odd signature. It pulsed in a rhythm. It wasn't just data. Felt like a pattern not natural, not random. Engineers thought perhaps it was interference. Maybe a glitch due to cosmic rays or even system degradation. After all, Voyager 2 is nearly 50 years old. However, when the same signal came back and its strength increased, they realized something was wrong, or perhaps very right, because the data wasn't noise, it was a broadcast. Voyager 2 had observed something, and it had recorded it. When the data was cleaned up and analyzed, something emerged that sent a ripple through the scientific community. There was a small object about 500,000 kilometers from the probe, moving at a velocity inconsistent with any known natural body in that region. No asteroid belts, no unintended planets, no comets. And yet this thing, whatever it was not just drifting, it was tracking. The direction of movement was toward the same vector that Voyager 2 was traveling. The speed of the object adjusted slightly in a way that mimicked Voyager's trajectory, like a predator stalking silently in the wake of its prey. Adjusting its movements just enough to stay in range, but not enough to cast doubt on someone. NASA scientists weren't alone in their panic. Military and independent astronomer observers, especially those involved in deep space tracking, were pulled in. They confirmed it. It wasn't a malfunction. The plasma density readings, the magnetometer anomalies, even slight fluctuations in the probe's gyroscopic data all pointed to a single conclusion. Voyager 2 was not alone. And that company might not be benign. Perhaps the most terrifying revelation came not from what Voyager 2 saw, but from what it returned. The radio frequency burst, piggybacked onto the regular telemetry feed, contained a digital signal that had no origin in Voyager's own systems. It wasn't programmed to send this, but it did. The data packet, when decrypted, contained a series of binary strings that, when plotted visually, formed patterns almost like glyphs. Not natural cosmic waves, not background noise. The construction of these was deliberate. Some likened them to crop circle geometry, others to symbols seen in early human history: spirals, intersections, recursive loops. A swarm of AI linguists and astrophysicists ran the data through contextual analysis algorithms. The results were horrifying. The signal structure was consistent with what we would expect from an intentional transmission, not from Voyager, but from some other thing. an entity that had either hijacked or embedded itself in the flow of signals. Whether it was a warning or a message, no one could say for sure. However, the results were clear. Voyager 2 wasn't alone in deep space. And what it encountered might have noticed us back. The scientific community is divided. Some argue this is the evidence we've been waiting for, proof that we're not alone. Others are less optimistic, worried that this is a prelude to surveillance, or even worse. In the past, the idea of extraterrestrials for decades was mostly tied to extinct exoplanet life, discoveries, and faint signals from far-off stars. But this was close, and it wasn't passive. What makes this discovery even more chilling is the timing. Similar anomalies were observed in data from Voyager 1 just months before, but were dismissed as static interference. Now, those readings are being reviewed in a new light, and many believe we've been too blind, too arrogant to consider the most terrifying explanation, that someone or something has been watching us longer than we dared to admit. And now they have made contact. As Voyager 2's instruments continued to capture data, a team at the Deep Space Network received an unfiltered stream of electromagnetic readings, frequencies oscillating in patterns they had never encountered before. At first, analysts thought it could be interference, cosmic rays, or a fluctuation in the background. But when the team isolated the signal and enhanced its waveforms, the results shocked them. A planned sequence, mathematically precise, pulsing almost as though it were engineered. Scientists ran a Fourier analysis. What they saw mirrored the base harmonic of hydrogen's frequencies, an intentional modification of the universe's most abundant element. What could that possibly mean? The signal wasn't just noise. Was attempting to communicate. The team cross-referenced the signal's path with Voyager 2's trajectory, only to discover that this movement had shifted. It wasn't random. It was tracking the probe. An intern at NASA, digging through decades-old archives, discovered telemetry from Voyager 1. When the data were compared, a disturbing alignment emerged. In the exact same region of interstellar space, decades apart, Voyager 1 had experienced a brief data anomaly very similar to Voyager 2's recent findings. But back then, the disruption had been ignored as static. Now, in hindsight, it looked like a first encounter. Scientists revisited the Voyager 1 logs and applied modern AI-powered decoding tools to this signal turbulence. The result matched the current event's waveform almost perfectly. This was no coincidence. Something or someone was out there, waiting in the void, and it had encountered both Voyager probes. The implication: this was not the first time we were observed. Using precise modeling, the team mapped the motion of the anomaly. It didn't follow the arcs of gravitation like a comet or asteroid. Instead, its trajectory bent unnaturally, as if warping space-time itself to remain concealed. Every simulation could not reproduce its path using known physics. Worse still, the object seemed to accelerate and slow down at will, remaining on the edge of visibility just beyond the reach of standard optical instruments. NASA scientists described its behavior as reactive, meaning it moved only in response to Voyager's transmissions. Was it listening, trying to learn, or both? Was it trying to avoid being seen completely? Some began to ask, what if Voyager 2 didn't just discover this object? What if it provoked it, while the object remained elusive? The probe's magnetometer began to detect rapid fluctuations in magnetic energy shifts, so sharp they suggested active manipulation of electromagnetic fields around the world. Conspiracy theories ignited, claiming Voyager 2 had made contact with an interstellar intelligence. But it wasn't just theories. An earlier JPL engineer leaked an internal report suggesting that the anomaly's field disruptions resembled torus-shaped energy distortions, similar to those produced by theoretical Alcubierre drives or fields that warp space. Had Voyager stumbled, upon something far beyond our understanding, something capable of folding the very fabric of space. The energy patterns weren't fading, they were intensifying. And every pulse, every wave seemed to resonate with one terrifying truth. We are not alone. And we never were. Back on Earth, something even more chilling began to emerge. Radio telescopes. In Chile, Australia, South Africa started detecting subtle but repeating echoes of the same frequency that Voyager 2 had recorded. These echoes were faint, buried beneath the hum of background cosmic radiation. But they shared one alarming characteristic. They pulsed in perfect synchrony with the transmission delays in Voyager 2's deep space signals. It was as if something out there was reflecting the probe's activity. Analysts called this the ghostly pulse. Attempts to triangulate the source were inconclusive. But one thing became undeniable. It was not a localized anomaly. Whatever was out there had found a way to project its presence across vast regions of space simultaneously. The pattern wasn't just intelligent, it was strategic, as if designed to be spotted, but only after humanity was ready. At this point, the conversation within classified scientific circles shifted from "what is it?" to a more disturbing question: why now? Voyager 2 had been drifting silently for nearly 5 decades, its journey expected to fade into the cosmic background. But now, exactly as artificial intelligence and quantum decoding on Earth reached their peak, the anomaly decided to respond. Was this a coincidence or an invitation? Some believe the object was not just reacting to Voyager's presence, but to Earth's technological advancement. It had been silently waiting, observing, and now, when humanity had the tools to decipher its message, it finally made its move. Governments imposed media blackouts. Private observational facilities quietly shut down. Even some AI researchers were apparently relocated, their projects halted without explanation. Behind closed doors, the question echoed more than ever before. Was Voyager to the catalyst for first contact, or did it awaken something we were never meant to find? In the end, Voyager 2 wasn't just a messenger from Earth. It became the trigger of a revelation that shattered our sense of cosmic solitude. The mysterious moving structure, the encoded transmissions, and mirrored frequencies, none of it fits into the neat boxes of human science. Something or someone is out there, not billions of light years away, but lurking in the shadows of our own solar system, watching, waiting. And perhaps the most terrifying part? They chose now to respond, not when Voyager launched, not when it passed Neptune, but now when our species finally reached the technological threshold required to understand. The question isn't whether we are alone. The real issue is, what if we just woken up? Stay alert, because this story is far from over. The next signal could come at any moment. Furthermore, the next discovery may not just change what we know about the universe. It might change who we are.